Hey, Brooke here. You get the text. Hey, just a heads up, there's a small get-together tonight. You should come. Your brain does something interesting. There's a brief moment where you think, yeah, that could be fun. You picture yourself there. Social, engaged, maybe even charming. And then, almost immediately, a second version of you appears. This version is already tired, wearing sweatpants, and already canceling plans that they haven't even agreed to yet. We say, oh, I'm an introvert. But that word, introvert, has become one of the most overly simplified labels in psychology, as if it describes only one type of person, one predictable pattern, one consistent way of existing. But it doesn't. In fact, according to psychologist Jonathan Cheek, introversion isn't just one thing. It's at least four distinct patterns that just happen to share the same label. The first is the social introvert. This is the one that most people imagine. Someone who genuinely prefers smaller groups, quieter environments, and limited social interaction. Not because they're anxious, but because they simply don't need as much social stimulation. They're not avoiding people, they're just selective, which is a very polite way of saying they'd rather just talk to one or two interesting people instead of 12 loud ones. Then there's the thinking introvert. And this one tends to be less visible, because from the outside, they often look completely fine. They can hold conversations, they can laugh at the right moments, and they seem fully present. But internally, there's a whole second layer running in the background. Thinking introverts live in a kind of constant quiet narration. Moments don't just happen, they're observed, interpreted. A simple interaction can turn into a full replay hours later, complete with edits, alternate version, and a slightly different tone of voice that definitely would have landed better. The third type is the anxious introvert, where introversion starts to overlap with something else entirely. Usually social anxiety. Anxious introverts don't necessarily want to avoid social situations, they just feel uncomfortable in them. There's a constant awareness of how they're being perceived. A running commentary of, was that weird? Or did I talk too much? And the social event doesn't end when they leave. It follows them home, replaying itself in loops that are far more detailed than anyone asked for. And finally, there's the restrained introvert. The people who don't just jump into conversations, but ease into them. They observe first, read the room first, feel the vibe first, then warm up gradually and choose their moments carefully. It's not hesitation, it's pacing. In a world that rewards quick responses and instant charisma, this can look like holding back or like shyness. But really, it's just a different rhythm. But here's the thing. Most people aren't just one of these. You might be socially introverted, but also a thinking introvert, or anxious in certain situations and restrained in others. These patterns overlap, shift, and change depending on various factors. Things like context, energy, and even your mood. Which means introversion is never just a fixed identity. It's more like a pattern of tendencies, a way your brain manages stimulation. This idea connects back to psychologist Hans Eysenck, who believed introverts naturally have higher levels of internal stimulation. In other words, it takes less external input to feel overwhelmed, which explains why leaving early doesn't feel rude. It feels right. Introversion isn't about disliking people, or being shy or quiet. It's about your brain's baseline to external stimuli. And once you start seeing it that way, the label introvert starts feeling less like a limitation and more like a setting, a calibration, the way you're wired. And honestly, understanding that is way better than trying to override it. Anyway, thanks for stopping by the Brook of Knowledge. Now go recharge in a dark room like the well-adjusted human you are. I get it. Liked what your weird brain just learned? Hit subscribe. If not, that's okay. We had a moment, and that's enough for me.